Hi everyone. So I've been getting a whole lot of questions these days around how to choose your teacher training. So rather than writing a lengthy post or a lengthy Facebook note, I figured, hey, why not make a video? So this is me in my full glory post-workout thing. Anyway, here are a couple of tips that hopefully will help you choose the teacher training that you want to do. First, you need to be clear what style you are going to teach. I know there are many styles around and many influences, and you don't have really to stick to one thing, but what would be your primary style? What style calls to you? What classes you tend to go to? What style really resonates most with you? Because if you teach that style, this is the style that you're going to have to practice also. Because you can't practice, what you don't teach, and the reverse is true. You can't teach what you don't practice. So you need to be full on into first one primary style. And then you can begin to put in more influences and come up with your own thing. But get clear on what kind of yoga appeals to you the most. That's the first thing. Second thing would be to decide whether it's important for you to get registered as a Yoga Alliance registered yoga teacher. So there are no international federation of yoga, as you may or may not know, but now you do. But there is this organization, supposedly non-profit organization. I think there's a bit profit, non-profit. Anyway, doesn't matter. But Yoga Alliance is that American organization that kind of wanted to harmonize and set up standards for yoga teacher training. Now, that doesn't mean that they actually check the quality of the teacher training, but they check that it meets certain requirements more in terms of quantity, in terms of hours, in terms of hours that you spend on a subject, and the usual foundational Yoga Alliance compliant teacher training is 200 hours. So again, you don't have to go through that kind of training. 200 hours, you'll see, is a lot of time, but not so much when you know there's so much to learn about yoga. So it can be an advantage if you want to be hired in studios and gyms because, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure, I don't know, this is the standard that gyms or studios will kind of judge you on. So the good thing is that at least it's consistent in a way that they will know that you have a 200 hours training and they will know what it's in there because it's the standard set up by Yoga Alliance. But again, it doesn't say anything about the quality of the teacher training. Now there is a system of reviews from students which you can check if you look for a registered yoga school on Yoga Alliance. But again, I would take it with a grain of salt, but your call. Yeah. And third, you have to check whether the schedule and the investment suits you, of course. So schedule can be a 5 week immersion. My own opinion on that is that I wouldn't go through that kind of thing if this is your first teacher training, because it's a lot of information. There's a lot of information to take in. There's a lot of information to process. And in my opinion, again, this is very personal, you don't become a yoga teacher in 1 month. This is just not possible to me. You need to wait for things, for the yoga, for the knowledge to kind of cook you and integrate the information in a way that you can already apply it as you go along. For me, that would be the better way to go. But again, your call. You know my opinion is just my personal opinion. And then you can have trainings that run like 1 academic year or 6 months, but divided into weekends. So if you work full time, that could be a nice option for you to go through so you can really have the time also in between weekends to integrate the information and begin to apply it. And you can begin to see what kind of information sticks and what topics you are called to the most, what you prefer, or the things that you need to work on also. So this is a nice way. Another way is to get like some 1 week immersions spread out over a certain period of time or months. So if you are more drawn to that format too, there are many formats to choose from. So make sure you choose the one that is most relevant to your current lifestyle. In terms of budget as well, you might have to travel to go to your teacher training, so take that into account on top of what you need to spend to invest in the teacher training itself. And there are a lot of changes that you will need to buy books, you will need to buy additional material, maybe additional props, additional books, additional learning material. So you need to take that into account and see if you are ready to make it a priority. I hear a lot of people telling me, well, I don't have the money, I still want to do something for in the rest of my life, which I completely get, but you need to know what you want. You want it or you don't. Simple. Right. Now, and one other thing that I would really strongly advise you to do is to take a class. If you don't study already with that teacher, at least take a class or take a workshop with the teacher who is leading, or the teachers who are leading the teacher training that you have your eyes on. Simply because what they teach in a class format will probably what they will teach you to do also. So you might want to check them out before you enroll into a teacher training that happens in an exotic place, which is nice, but it's not the most important thing, okay? So when I signed up for my teacher training, I had already taken a workshop with Claire Missinger, my teacher in London, and I took it even before I knew she was actually running a teacher training. And when I did the workshop, I absolutely loved it, and that's when I checked her out a little bit more, and that's when I found out she had a teacher training and she was taking applications. So that was a done deal for me. So I really suggest that you go to the to classes or a workshop led by that teacher. Yeah, and last but not least, again coming back to the format, it's also a matter of managing your energy, your own energy. Know your style of learning. Know how much information that you can take in at one time, because again, this is a lot of information to take in. I did my own teacher training with weekends spread out over a year. That worked perfectly, given my lifestyle at the time. And we had sometimes 3 to 4 weeks between each weekend, so it gave me a lot of time to think about it on top of doing my homework, because there's this too. And that worked better for me, because then the little bit of information that I received, I could really let it sink in and integrate it and see how it applied in my life also as a yoga student at the time. So take that into account, how you manage your energy, if you need to be around people all the time, or if you need to kind of have your own space, which is more of my style. But take all of this into account. So first, your style, preferred style, yoga alliance or not, format and budget. If you need to take a class with that person, to check them out first before you invest a lot of time and energy and money in that. And of course, your style of learning. So based on all that, go for a teacher training that really calls you like 100% and that you super excited and super inspired to do. And it's all that matters. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.